Once upon a time long ago, there was a legend about a rebel god. He was the great sage Sun Wukong. He possessed boundless magical powers, but his wild heart challenged the entire heavenly system. Because he broke the divine laws, the Jade Emperor unleashed his holy wrath. Wukong was chained deep inside the cold cave of the Five Elements Mountain, sealed under a massive rock. For 5 long centuries, the legendary king lived in silent darkness, stripped of his glory, waiting for a destiny he could not foresee. 500 years slipped away like water. Evil mountain monsters invaded the mortal world, hunting for innocent children to feed a dark ritual. During the chaos and panic, a brave young monk named Liwer saved a baby girl. To escape the terrifying claws of the monsters, Liwer carried the baby and ran blindly into the stormy forest, accidentally tumbling into a mysterious, hidden cavern beneath the ancient mountain. Deep inside the frozen cave, Liwer's hand accidentally touched the glowing divine seal on the rock. With a loud crash, the 500-year-old stone lock shattered into pieces. Wildfire broke the heavy heavenly chains. The true king finally woke up from his long nightmare. The great sage Sun Wukong walked out into the sunlight once more, ready to shake the world again. But freedom did not bring back his godlike power. A glowing, indestructible iron wristband was tightly wrapped around Wukong's arm. It was a cold reminder of the Buddha's absolute restriction. The former ruler of the heavens found himself reduced to a powerless monkey, unable to even defeat a minor monster. Young Liwer was completely blind to the great sage's secret tragedy. In his eyes, Sun Wukong was an undefeatable god, the eternal hero of his childhood shadow plays. As they walked through the misty valley, Liwer kept badgering him about his legendary weapon, the golden staff. He looked at Wukong with pure worship and asked, "Is your Rui golden cudgel still around?" Wukong looked at the glowing seal on his wrist, feeling a deep wave of shame and frustration. He tried to hide his broken pride, looking away and murmuring, "It's at home." Liwer did not give up. He cheered and asked if the staff could really grow to the heavens. Wukong nodded silently, recalling his past glory. But when a swarm of mountain monsters suddenly ambushed them, Wukong's magic failed to ignite. He had to run away on foot, carrying Liwer and fighting with nothing but raw, bleeding fists. Wukong bitterly realized the harsh truth: he was no longer the great sage. He was just a helpless loser. The path grew darker as they were joined by Pigsy, a funny pig monster who used to be a high-ranking marshal in heaven. They stopped at a peaceful mountain inn, unaware that the ultimate evil was approaching. Lord Chaos, the supreme master of the monsters, was searching for the last child to complete his elixir of eternal life. He tracked the baby girl straight to Liwer. Lord Chaos disguised himself and attacked the inn with terrifying dark magic, his long, shadow-like ribbons tearing the building apart. Wukong fought back with absolute desperation, using a wooden stick to defend the children. But without his immortal magic, he was brutally crushed by Lord Chaos. The evil lord shattered Wukong's defense and threw him deep into the rushing river. Wukong survived the fall, but he lost the battle. Lord Chaos captured the baby girl and dragged Liwer away into the clouds. When Wukong crawled out of the water, the red sun was setting over the ruins. He looked at his trembling hands and the glowing seal that refused to break. He wanted to chase them. He wanted to save the boy, but fear paralyzed him. He buried his face in his hands and cried out in pure agony, "Buddha, you old bastard! You locked me up for 500 years." Master Faming found the broken hero sitting in the mud. He gently reminded Wukong that Liwer never cared about magic or miracles. The boy only believed in the brave soul of the great sage. Wukong stared at the red silk thread Liwer left behind. He chose to stop running. He stood up, let out a fierce roar, and ran toward the giant flying altar where Lord Chaos was finalizing his sinister ritual. The final battle on the mountain cliff was a terrifying spectacle. Lord Chaos transformed into a colossal, grotesque worm monster, raining rocks and venom down upon the children. Wukong threw himself into the battlefield, using his own flesh and blood to shield the kids. He fought with savage strength, his bones breaking, getting thrown into the dirt again and again. Liwer watched his hero bleeding on the ground, and the brave little monk decided to fight back, throwing stones to distract the giant monster. But Lord Chaos turned his furious gaze toward the boy. A massive stone pillar slammed down with devastating force. Wukong screamed and lunged forward, but his hand missed by an inch. The dust settled, and a heavy silence fell. Wukong dug desperately through the rubble, finally holding Liwer's small, lifeless body. The boy's eyes were closed, and his hand slipped away, cold and still. The death of his only true believer completely tore the chains within Wukong's soul. Pure, unadulterated rage exploded from his heart. The glowing heavenly wristband on his arm violently cracked and exploded into dust. Golden columns of light pierced the dark clouds, turning the entire sky into a roaring ocean of crimson fire. The iconic red cloak flew out from the flames like a living dragon. His legendary gold armor materialized back onto his body, burning with divine aura. He reached into his ear and pulled out the world-shaking golden staff. In a spectacular sea of golden light, the true king of monsters was reborn. Wukong looked at the giant beast and swung his staff with infinite fury. With one world-shattering strike, he vaporized Lord Chaos, saving all the children from the darkness. The storm faded, and the first ray of morning sun painted the mountains in gold. The children were safe, but Wukong stood quietly in the wind, holding the little boy's red ribbon, his heart empty. Suddenly, a familiar, weak, and coughing voice echoed from the quiet ruins behind him. "Great sage!" Wukong turned his head, and a brilliant smile finally broke across his face. True heroes are never defined by the magic they hold. They are born when they choose to stand up and protect what they love. When you shatter the mountain of fear in your mind, the great sage will always return.